I brought my big set today. So you can look at it if you want to, because people were wondering last week how I set up my colors. So
How do you close that?
you just, this is why I never get through what I want to get. This is a Heilmann box. It's quite heavy. It's wonderful for traveling, except that it's heavy. I got this, a friend of mine sold it to me for $50, which I was so thankful because, yeah, they're like hundreds, a couple hundred, $300.
My husband got me the little one with
Yeah.
the easel in it.
Yep.
To take to Maine with me.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, and in the airport, I had to unpack everything because they'd never seen one like that.
Right. In that case, a good idea is take a photo of
Yes.
what's in the box, print it, and put it on the outside of it. You can come up around.
I learned that.
Jeannie, you can come up
Yeah.
around. So this has a bit, and this, you can see it's older. She says, I'm sorry, it's dirty. I'm like, no, this means history to me. It has a story.
Yeah, I like it.
So this goes on, and it has these little clips that just go over, and then you can just fold it.
Thank you.
It has one for both sides, which is really great. Nice handle.
And then a pinch, you can use that as kind of your, you know, like your back.
If you need a, yeah, you could tape a piece of paper on there if you had to. So I work kind of the rainbow spectrum of colors, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, like that. Darks at the back, and my whites are up front, which I'm not sure if that's good. I probably should have the whites at the back, because if you're picking up and you might be dribbling dark colors on over your white. But again, what I always do with a rag in hand is I wipe it before I set it back in the box anyway. Do not, I recommend you do not pack your box too tightly. I mean, I've seen people like put it in there like a little puzzle. And I'm thinking, you're never going to get it back in, because the law of entropy proves that you pick it up, the others around it move, and you're not going to find that spot again to put it back. So give it a little breathing room. It will get a little jumbled as you go along, but generally that's how it is. So at any point you want, you can come up and take a picture.
Just get a list, yes.
Yeah. Oh, the Dakota that I told you about last week, that's a great resource. They'll have sales on different sets of pastels.
Is that a Dakota case, hearing case?
Heilmann, Heilmann, Heilmann.
Did you get that from Dick Blick or something? Or?
No.
You can get it from Dakota. I'm not sure where else you can get. You can buy it
them.
directly from Heilmann, from the company. Yes.
You might want to adjust your camera a little bit because it's showing blank mostly in the back. If you want to get yourself in it explained.
Well, actually, no, thank you. But what I am going to do is appreciate that. I'll have a shot of these things that I'm talking about when I edit it. Thank you.
I think you can get those at Amazon even.
You may be able to. I haven't checked. As I said, I lucked out, and a friend of mine had two. I don't know how do you know? But as I said, there's people that have tables and tables of pastels. So,
Heilmann, H-E-I-L-M-A-N.
is it HIE or EI?
I don't know.
It's one or the other. Heilmann? It's either that way or I before you.
I think it's E first. And Mr. Howland.
Yeah.
Bill, Bill answered.
I think it is E first. Yes.
It's German, it's the EI.
So what?
So Mr. Howland answers the phone when you call. It's wonderful.
Oh, that's great. There are other types. I am looking for one in my backpack, my plein air, that is a lot lighter than this.
Yeah.
So I don't have to take it out. Somebody left a box here. It has Mona Lisa on the front and back. It's lighter though, and I got special padding to put in it. That's working okay. It's still not what I want. Some of these boxes, this one's okay, but it's too big for my backpack. That came from someone else. This will take even your fat, like Richardson and Townsend pastels, and it will go down to the thin, your new pastels can go in here, and then because of the padding here, it'll hold it in place. I'm looking that mine is at some point going to need to be replaced, but So that's my box, my color setup. I have my pan pastels here. I do have a box of new pastels, and this was originally, I think, a Sennelier box. I like the box. So. I love boxes. Wooden boxes. They're very similar to these. I'd like to see what you did with them. That can help me kind of know where you are. And
Too embarrassed to bring it.
Yeah.
yeah, that's the way to learn, is because I can't.
Okay.
It helps if I can see what
think I
you've
saved it for
done.
my
I will.
grandkids. I'll
I can
bring it
understand.
next
Yeah.
time.
And I'll try to watch you today, Susan, to see if I can figure. Well, I won't stand over you and watch you, but. So, what I'd like to do today is, you have, some of you brought your photos again, which is good. I have a vertical picture here, okay. I use my sketchbook a lot, for those that weren't here. I didn't make a video last week because everybody was here, so you folks don't have that video.
Oh, I watched once, a couple you posted.
Okay. Susie, no, I didn't make one last week because everyone was here.
No.
I'll send you an intro video.
Free to send that to everybody.
All the emails said was bring a photo if you want to. You brought those, that's good. Because I got to last night and realized I hadn't sent you guys an email follow up. So what I'm doing now is I'm just looking through this sketchbook to see if I can find. Should I do the little tree again?
Yeah. Sure.
My little tree is just always.
Trees, little roses.
He just kind of stands there and he's broken in the middle and.
Leafless things.
Is it helpful if we do our paper in quadrants?
When we get to it, I'd like you to do it in quadrants. What we're going to do today is work on with color. Can I do this full view? Yeah. I'm going to work with color and value. So I don't know if you can see it. And we're going to do, there's 5 steps up here, but if you put it in quadrants, then you'll have 4 steps. So by taking a simple image, and you don't have to do the tree, you can do one of yours. You can work it in just black and white to determine your values, your darks and your lights, and how to arrange those. Then we'll go to a monochromatic. And I'll do some quick demos on this, and then you can go back and work on it. So that's why I've had this up here. Monochromatic, one color, one hue you choose, and within that you get lights and darks. Then we try an analogous, which is a family of color. You could use this grouping or this, whichever grouping you want to use. Colors that are close to each other on the color wheel is your analogous. And then a complement is a color across. Like you start, maybe the most of the painting is going to be this blue green, and then you're going to add in some spicy elements that have the orange in them. And to neutralize, you would also use complements to neutralize. Side by side, they'll almost vibrate. But if you layer them and blend them slightly or just layer them, they neutralize each other, making it more gray and more neutral. See, I'm brilliant today. This brain is just working. And then you can work on a triadic. So I think if you do 4 of these, and then at the second part of the class, get a full sheet and choose one to do again to pull it together. As
What's
like
triadic?
triadic is any like if you look at your primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, that's a triad. It's in a triangle. But that doesn't have to be yellow, red, and blue. It can be orange, green, and purple. It can be yellow, green, orange, red, so you can do it that way. And I can put out some samples for you. So you can see on this, in the, what do I call this, monochromatic, it's the same color, but it goes with the lighter colors to the darker colors in that color. The complement, which is misspelled on here, is the two opposite colors on the color wheel. I chose a blue-green and a red-orange on this one. And where I blended them, and I'll come around in the middle, you can see it's been neutralized by putting it one over the other. And this is a analogous. I don't have a triadic one here, but it's analogous, so you have the family of colors kind of from one extreme to another. And I'll email you this picture too.
Jokingly said
Difference
mail
between
the intro
monochromatic
video to everybody.
and analogous.
Do you what? I'm sorry.
And mail the intro vocabulary to,
When
I mean,
you
a
different
video
values.
vocabulary.
okay, to everybody,
video,
okay.
Whatever, B word.
The question again.
I was just monochromatic versus analogous. And analogous, you're picking three colors that are next to each other.
Next to each other. I call them the family of colors.
What do you mean by neutral? I mean, I know you mean like
Well, see,
neutral, but.
Get this teal, I mean, that green and that orange, and the way they're blended in the middle, it's kind of grayish brownish.
Okay, okay.
That's neutralizing it.
And you want to do that
When we're working with the opposite ones, the two.
Okay.
But you can do that at any time, blending. That's, you said you had a little trouble with the blending. So that's kind of where we're going here. So it's teaching you a lot of about color. And this is fast because this is week number 2 already. So everyone wants an intro video.
Thank you.
And maybe week 5 and 6 too,
Yeah.
while we're asking.
Week 5 and 6.
We're not there yet, but we'll need it.
No, 4 weeks is just getting you going. I mean, I had that intro class, but that's just a like, what is this? How do I touch it on paper?
Well, and I missed that.
Those are kind of on YouTube. If you take her name right,
I do have a lot on YouTube, and a lot of the class ones, though, I keep unlisted, so you can only access them if you have the link. So, tree, black and white. I'm going to kind of skip the black and white. I'm going to combine it with a monochromatic. I need a color. Blue-green, blue-purple, blue-green. All right, so I go into my palette and I start picking out a blue-green. And I just, oftentimes when I'm in my studio, I have a little tray that I can put these in. Blue-green. So you see how I'm going lighter? It's still bluish green, but they're getting lighter as they go along. I have to be careful. This is kind of a blue-green. So now I have one color and value differences here, right? If I want, and I'm going to stay away from this, but I could still, again, like we did last week, start the under sketch with a vine charcoal if you want to. But let's jump right into this because I want to do it quickly so you can try this. Bluish green, but they're getting lighter as they go along. I have to be careful. This is kind of a blue-green. So now I have one color and value differences here, right? If I want, and I'm going to stay away from this, but I could still, again, like we did last week, start the under sketch with a vine charcoal if you want to. But let's jump right into this because I want to do it quickly so you can try this. So we'll start with the tree. So I start dark underneath. Where's my tree? He's down here. Sorry, you can't see him very well. My little broken tree, who I know quite well. So I'm just going to, you can come up if you want. Just be careful of the tripod and so if you're back, please do come around because I'm going to be standing here. So that's my top of my tree, that central, what is that called? A trunk. Thank you, brain.
Tree stick.
And remember I talked about the top branches reaching up. As they go out, they get heavier, and as they're heavier at the base, they go down. I do this quickly here because I did a whole exercise with my Patreon group where remember I talked last week at bringing down how many strokes, how few strokes can you do it to make. So I'm very familiar with how to make it look like my little tree in as few strokes as possible. Now I'm going to give it, these are middle tones, a little bit on the tree trunk here. And I'm thinking the light's coming from this direction, so I don't want to be putting a lot of color down below.
Beautiful already.
See how,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you don't need a lot. I've been, oh, hear that one?
Yeah.
This is a homemade one.
Oh.
It has a lot of sand in it. And then I'm gonna keep that, and I'm gonna give it a light. I'm gonna put the sun back here. Just kind of glowing. Notice I don't worry about it being perfect.
That's good.
It really, because if you make it perfect, it's, take a photograph, you know? Why are we doing this? Everything's been done, as we talked about. It just hasn't been done by you. And what's going to make it your individual art is the marks you make in the way. You could try copying mine and it won't come out the same. We each can't help ourselves. See how I'm kind of picking, where's the camera? Some details to define that little branch that's coming, the broken branches that are in that little tree in the middle. And then I'm going to use this one. It's like some grass down below. Don't blow on your painting, that's bad to do. So very quickly, it's I've defined this little tree, and it's a nice little study. And it's all analogous color. It's not analogous, it's monochromatic. Thank you. So you can do that. I can see. I want to pick out some. What do we call it? Some people call them sky holes, but just places where the sky behind kind of shows through. First time over, then I can go back in. I can define it a little more if I want to. Don't have to. Analogous. So now we're going to do a family of colors. Let's go purplish. I thought I heard somebody come in. That's too dark. I'm working on dark paper. So I'm going to do I think I'll go red, violet, this section here. Why? I don't know. I just randomly chose that.
In general, it's not a goal to cover the whole sheet of paper.
If you have toned paper, you don't need to. If you're working on like that white sheet of paper, that white's going to show through. Back, most of us are in this time period, but when television first came out, and you'd look at it as a kid really close, you know, and these little dots would get bigger or better as an image. So somebody with a red shirt, they had cyan, magenta, and like a chartreuse color, because that's the primary colors in light as opposed to pigment. But as somebody walked across, they were all the same size, except when they got the reception that it was a red shirt, the red one would get bigger and the others would get smaller. And TVs at the beginning, they were little circles and they were on a white background. Then Zenith came out with a Trinitron color or something like that. And they were like, look how amazing this is. I'm saying this is our time period. What they did is they took those circles and they put black behind them. And by putting that black behind them, it intensified those colors. So as lovely as white is, which we need it in watercolor, so that's another whole situation, it can almost weaken your color. And pastel comes in, you can get, this is not a sanded paper, but the Mi-Tint paper, and there's other brands that come already with tints on them. I used this paper for decades before I discovered sanded paper. But there are some great sanded papers out there that come in bright and strong colors as well. or you can just tone it yourself. Tape it down, take pan pastels or another pastel and wash the color in with that. Like if you want to work on this white paper, tape it down. If you want to color there, take one of your pastels, or 2 or 3, because then you have a variegated background, and wash it down and let it dry.
Will this paper take liquid, the white paper?
The white, this one will not. This white paper, you guys, because you were late, so I'll show this again. I purchased this because it was a new paper and I thought I'd try it. I don't like it, so I'm letting you try it. But you might like it. We were talking earlier, it might be great for pencil or colored pencils, things like that. Dark, where are my blues? What is it? Blue. Okay. Now, as I'm picking out color, I also am thinking tone. So this analogous, it's kind of from that orange, not that orange, magenta, purple, up through some blues. So I can kind of compare it to my color wheel and decide if that's going to work. I'm going to take the same approach, kind of my consistent, oh, what a beautiful color, isn't it?
What color is it?
I don't know, it's this purple.
The deep purple?
Yeah. But it feels like it's a sennelier. It is soft and buttery, and it goes on like just joy.
It goes on silently.
Those are my little broken branches there. So
So what's the difference between value and tone?
usually they're used interchangeably. Value goes white to dark. If it's a high end, it would be a tint. If it's a lighter color, this is a tint. Here's a blue, here's a tint of blue. If I go darker, here's a blue, here's a shade of blue. So that's kind of tone. We don't say too much tone in art as much as other places.
Well,
Does
you've
that-
mentioned the word tone.
Did I do, I'll throw it out there.
Okay.
Kind of interchangeably with value. Am I this? So I'm just mixing it up a little bit here.
Is this the same, you changed colors now? Okay.
Yep, this is a little bit lighter. I want to bring in some, I'm thinking, sorry, obviously. Could you see it thinking? Yeah, okay, I like that. Now, even if you're going to do a large finished painting, sometimes it's nice to have these small color sketches ahead of time so you can plan something out and you can do in multiple tries on the same image quickly and decide, all right, which one do I like best and which one do I want to go with as my big finished painting. I'm going to take, yep.
Do you always go dark and to light?
Generally speaking, in pastel, you go start dark and medium to light. You're going to finish up with your lightest colors. How far did I go on that? Yeah, okay. Oh, I know what I want to do with it. Here's my moon. Now it's a moon. Catch in some of the light sparking through some of the areas here. Now I can layer a little bit. This I'm just glazing over. Can you hear that this is, I'm pushing, so your pressure makes a huge difference when you're painting. And then if I want to just skim a little bit over that to kind of lighten those areas without doing too much, just very light skimming.
And can I just, because of what I said earlier.
Yeah.
So when you did that skimming, there's a little blending going on there.
It visually blends.
Okay.
So it's happening because the texture of the paper is picking it up. You've got the deeper blue under and then the lighter blue kind of comes through, but you can still see the other through that, which
But you're not rubbing them to blend it.
No.
Like you're not.
you can. And a lot of people, I have a great friend, she's Australian, but she always blends her background. Blend, yes, does it a lot. Her name is Steffi Clark. because this is in that color family that I chose, I can use this. And then maybe some, kind of like abstract, right? So it's just,
Very pretty.
see how that popped that out? And I had already pre-chosen my colors. Oftentimes when I'm painting, I'll go by intuition and instinct, which for me is decades trained as well. But you can do that. Other times I will pre-choose my colors and pre-choose my color palette, what I want to do with it. Do I want one of these approaches? When I'm teaching, I do that a lot too, so people can understand that and learn. Then it gets, the more and more you use it, it becomes ingrained in you. And you kind of almost, it seems like it's subconscious you're making these choices, but it's not. You've done it a few times. What's next? It's you can look how soft it is. It's just coming off on my fingers. All right, tree green. Here we go. Put it in there. Nice, as I said last week, aspect about becoming familiar with a subject matter is if now I'm studying color and value, I don't have to think about the subject because I'm so familiar with it. Apples are great for studies like this. Trees are great. Just something fairly simple. See, I'm still thinking the light's coming this way. That's why I'm catching the highlighted side of these. These branches are like, you know, full needles and stuff like that. And as they're sitting here on this side, they're basically going to be catching the light this way. So this down side is going to be in shadow. And if you've taken my basic drawing course, you would know that. But you might know that. You would know that anyway. I mean, it's pretty logical.
What's the back color? What color is that back color you have there, the dark? Oh,
That's just the paper.
Or you know, the first color
the
you
first
put
layer.
on, the first layer you put on.
Oh, it's a dark yellow green.
Yellow green?
Yellow green. It's like olive. So it's kind of olive. Olive is a yellow green.
That's a nice dark.
Now this is similar to the color I used up above. I'm going to not use that one here, but with this green, it's going to have a very different feel to it than it did with, of course, then I switch it, than it did with the blue. Says there's not a pink sky.
It's a sunset.
Yeah. Now I'm just skimming. By skimming, I'm letting the paper neutralize that, soften that color. Up here, I'm using stronger marks to make it thicker. I'm just pressing down a little bit more. And then down as we go. A little softer down here. And our light source behind the tree. A little skim again to kind of blend that light source out. Something's missing. See how at the bottom of the tree disappeared? So yellow, green, yellow, because I go back in and I'm looking for another yellow, green. This is already organized that way, as I told you. So my greens are here. On the yellow side of it are my yellow greens. On this side are my cool greens, my bluish greens. So I've got it kind of pre-set up. So those lower branches were disappearing, so that's why I'm going to come back in and now you can see it a little better. A little better. That one didn't work as well for some reason. Why didn't it work as well?
The next color would be the red above the violet.
So again, I'm sorry?
The next color above the violet to the would be the red. What about putting that one in?
Like
Is that too
adding a
far?
little red in
Yeah, would
there?
that be too far off?
Kind of a purplish, what?
Or like a burgundy red or something?
In where?
In the bottom corner on the right?
And from far away, you can't really see the yellowish.
This
too
is,
much.
yeah. Whoa. Yeah, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm just playing with color right now. Oh, whoa.
So to tone that down, you're going to neutralize it a little bit?
I could, yes. I don't want to spend too much time. I want you folks to try this.
They're also beautiful.
There you go.
That red down there is actually all right now.
It's magic.
That green kind
It is.
of brought that down a little bit. It kind of worked
It's
it in a
enough
little
that
more.
it's interesting, but not overpowering.
Yeah, and this
Really.
purpley pink is not really.
I mean, really.
I'm just glazing across that.
Oh,
When you say glazing across it. with
Glazing just
color,
means I'm barely touching. I'm like feathery touch, just skimming across the top.
So that's a real
As
soft.
opposed to a strong mark. I'm just barely touching it.
Do you need to use a real soft pastel for that? Or can you use
Tends
new
to,
pastel?
depends on what's underneath. Like what am I glazing over? If it's a hard pastel, I can use a medium. Remember, I think we talked fat on lean here. So the harder pastels under, middle, and then your soft pastels on top. If you're starting with a soft pastel underneath, your hard pastel is gonna have a hard time glazing over. You can use a harder pastel to blend things in, like push it in almost like your finger, but using a stick instead. No question? No, please. Triadic. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I'm using all these colors. I'm going to kind of leave this out so you can see if you want. Shoot, I'm going back to the purples again. Okay. Yellow, green. I'm going to limit my colors. Orange. I don't have a lot of orange. I have a friend in Maine. She puts orange in almost every painting, and they're beautiful. This sienna brick color is in the orange family. Purple, purple. Straight ahead purple. Okay. I'm gonna start with a tree again. I'm getting a little punchy here doing this. I'm gonna keep the, now I'm using the purple and the green in the basic part of the tree.
So
And
you try, can you show us on the color wheel the triadic colors you're using?
yes, I am using violet, orange, and green.
Oh, so it's any tree.
Any three. You can use yellow, red, and blue. There's a,
Is it any three equally spaced?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Equilateral
So
triangle, that's
here-
part of that.
This has a triangle on it, and it says
Oh.
triad. And you
Okay.
can turn that, if you started with green, it would be orange and violet. You know, if you started over here with the red, orange, you just follow that triangle to find what other colors are there.
As far as values, when you start picking them, do you pick three different values at each color?
That's a good place to start, good question. Yes, I would choose a dark, a middle tone, and a light of each color when you get to this one. And you don't have to use them all, but you can use, you could. There's actually, I know there's a snow fence down here, so that's often why I get that down in there. Okay, this is really bright. I think that's too bright for what I want. So catching the light. And I haven't decided what color the sky is going to be, so I'm going orange. Why not? Woo!
It's Halloween, yeah.
I mean, if you were doing a realistic painter or drawing or something, you wouldn't use this color, but then you put it down, you go like, that's really cool. Why don't I do a whole finished work of art with that bright orange?
Is this kind of relate to what Warhol was doing, and he would do those
That's what it looks like.
colors?
He would mix up different,
But we don't know, I can't, whether they were, you know, triadic or,
yeah,
he just made up his own rules, is all I'm thinking. But anyway, I'll look at them and see if they
that's a good,
match up with any of these, you know.
to see if he was kind of based on that.
Uh-huh.
It's a good possibility. Anyway, that's just my little tree. How we, so then notice I come over here, because I can get further away from it. That's okay, it's not as, but you can see the same image and how you approach the color, how things are different. And of course, in most paintings, you're gonna go beyond this basic. These are just basic color schemes. And eventually you'll start using almost all your colors. Often though, it's a stronger painting if you limit your colors.
But not necessarily the values of the colors, is that what you're saying?
You still want the dark, middle, and light. You can, and then you start getting into, like if this were all much darker, let me just show you that.
Those are all beautiful.
Yeah.
Sign it,
So
yeah.
easy.
I'll take it.
Really.
So that kind of gives it like a moonlight effect.
It's a nocturne effect. If I eliminate the higher values, except maybe right where the moon is, whatever you want to call it.
Doomsday.
See, everything is down except for that one last highlight. Now it becomes a nocturne. So you can control, is it a bright sunny day? Then you're gonna stay with all your lighter colors.
So is it okay to leave that black? Because that black background is kind of dull.
This charcoal gray?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
If it works with your painting, yes.
or
You don't
could
have to totally cover it. With this, if you notice, it works pretty well in here. And here it's kind of, you know. So as you're working along, you make those decisions, because in my world, I don't want to totally control the painting. I want it to become a partnership between me and this creation. And at some point, it starts almost communicating back with me, like, I want to do this. I don't like to use too much white, but I do have some white, so. Look how a little bit of light kind of,
Wow.
just add some light in there.
Luscious.
What do you think?
Yeah.
So try, I have no idea what time it is. Go through as quickly as you can, each of these, or 4 of these.
It's 11.
So you get to the point, let's give ourselves like 15 minutes to do the first 4 studies. That's fast. That's faster than what I did, but I was talking as I went along.
Of whatever you want.
Just take pictures of your choices there.
Yeah, here, let me bring this down. Yeah.
Those color choices.
So choose one, don't think of any of the others. Have your simple image that you're going to use. And start with, I don't know, monochromatic's a good place to start. Choose a color, get a dark, and a couple middle tones, and a light of that. And then very quickly, do a study.
Don't take all day picking.
So do all 4.
Right.
No,
We're gonna do all 4.
Do monochromatic.
I would recommend 4, because you learn so much. And I'd like to do it fast enough, so maybe 5 minutes each. I'll set a timer or something. Then you can do like a one large one from your favorite of those. This is why I look at my box and I'm like, you looking for a color
Yeah.
for your monochromatic? What's your picture?
But yeah, that's.
Good question.
That's kind of complicated.
Is it too complicated?
Well, you're not going to do the figures. Let's do this.
Okay, okay,
How's that?
okay,
Okay.
good.
And And actually, you got a lot of water up there, so I come even closer.
Okay.
That's one thing I think I'm gonna work with my Patreon this month, is like, got a great picture, how do I crop it to make it a great painting? or the
Okay,
beginning?
okay, okay,
So, go with your teals.
okay.
Stuck with the teal. That's, as you notice, sometimes I'm doing a demo, I'll go, somebody say a color.
Yeah.
You know, it's easier, then I don't have to make the decision.
You go dark and light.